How's it going? This is Tom Burkhardt from Car Revs Daily in the 2015 Nissan Murano SL front-wheel drive. Going out for a quick drive review with this pretty sexy new crossover. I would definitely say that this is the SL, which is one rung below the platinum trim level that we photographed in the fall. And I have to say, though I don't like it as much as in blue as I do in black, it looks, I mean, dynamically, sort of on the road and in random real-world places, it looks really, really good. First thing you notice is that the LED signature in the like boomerang shaped headlights has a really bright lower portion, so that is actual, like, you know, it's not just styling LED, but actual LED light. So that's really like a lot brighter than I thought it was going to be. And secondly, it's I mean, that's the profile surfacing, and this glass house is seriously advanced. It looks really, really cool, and far more modern and evocative than even the upcoming 2016 Ford Edge, which is a prime competitor for the Murano. So where does it fit in Nissan's lineup? You know, what are we talking for pricing? So let's dive into that, and then we'll do a little bit of performance talk and performance demonstration. So pricing for the Murano starts at like about $33,000 or $34,000. In this SL, or I think it's actually lower than that, but this SL comes in with a base price of $36,900. And that is increased by $2,000 with the technology package for an out-the-door total of $40,100. So that seems, at first it seems like a lot, you know, for a Nissan, but then you get in this cabin, and you know, then you spend some time looking at the equipment list of this extremely well-equipped and extremely posh new SUV, and you know, 40 grand, it starts to feel like pretty reasonable versus like cars like the Lincoln MKC or that Ford Edge that we mentioned, as well as you know, aspirational rivals, let's say like the BMW X3 or perhaps even the X5. I mean, any full-size two-row SUV is what the Murano is gunning for. And within the Nissan lineup, the Murano, it sits really sort of like above the Pathfinder and above the Rogue in terms of its positioning and its the types of buyers that Nissan is hoping to attract. So, full-size SUV, but not a 7-seater. I mean, this is just, so I guess, so maybe like a mid-size SUV is more accurate. But anyway, big SUV, big giant back seat, reclinable seats, huge moonroof. I mean, really just a shockingly good feel from this cabin here. This is the new brown leather trim. And of course, like, the cabin is all new, as every bit of this Murano is. And for good reason. I mean, the 2015 Murano could not have come a moment too soon. When the original Murano came out in 2004 or 2005, perhaps, it was like a really fun and affordable style crossover that launched at the same time as the like very, very sexy Infiniti FX, but having a more you know, having front drive options and you know, obviously a much more affordable price point. And so but 2004, 2005, that was fully 10 years ago, and the Murano had basically been on the market almost unchanged in that entire time. So what started out as like a really, like a pretty bold and stylish design, by the end of its tenure, I mean, the car had been on the market for so long that it was just, you know, it was hard to really consider. So great that it's all new for 2015, and great that it is, that they were so, you know, they obviously really worked hard to make this a desirable model. You know, this is not necessarily the family utility side of the sport utility, but of the SUV or crossover business. This is like the style side, the cool people side. You know, the cool truck. And I think the Murano aces that metric. It definitely looks cool and extremely new and extremely fresh. Got a lady crossing here. Go ahead, sweetie. Okay, so let's dive into the drive. So the Murano comes standard with a 3.5 liter V6 making 260 horsepower and 240 foot-pounds of torque. And that is through an Xtronic 2 CVT. And the CVT, okay, so let's just address the the elephant in the room. People don't like CVTs. I mean, a lot of enthusiasts. Regular people, like actually like, you know, family car drivers and stuff, they don't mind them at all. They actually like them because they're so smooth around town and so efficient and silent. But performance people typically like have not loved CVTs. So why is that? It's because, so I've identified a few reasons from my own experience of like what are my personal pet peeves of CVTs. One of them is that there's, you know, obviously there's no defined upshift point that we're all used to when driving automatic transmission vehicles. You know, when you have your foot on the floor, CVTs in the past have just gotten to the optimal rev point of the engine, you know, typically around like 5,000 to 7,000 RPM, and then they just sort of hang there and they stay at that maximum power point and let the transmission wind out the power, which is like, it's just bizarre at first, and secondly, it can be like a little irritating, and it doesn't set the same mood as a regular automatic upshift and drive characteristic. So Nissan knows all this stuff, and they've worked really hard to make sure that this is like the 3rd or 4th generation Xtronic CVT that they've had. And it's like really beefed up for this V6 engine to be able to handle its torque. It has like more, it has a bunch more, it's just really beefed up to basically handle this engine is the most important thing. And what they've done, I mean, this car, at least, they've done a great job. It feels a lot sportier and more directly engaged than even the Pathfinder, which shares this powertrain. And honestly has like really good simulated kickdowns, and you know, like we've been demonstrating here over and over. Like it feels good. It feels really impressive in that regard. We need to do like a full throttle run to see how it actually does on big upshifts. But it's a lot better. There is simulated rev match, you know, simulated gear changes and step changes as you go through. That they have programmed in, but we'll see how convincing it is. So the second thing I haven't liked about CVTs, and I think you will understand this, is that they feel like they are, while they are like operating at the engine's maximum power point, they feel like they're spinning away power. They feel like the power is sort of like not getting to the wheels, as though it's just being sort of like wound up and not propelling you forward. You're just like, where this thing is just making a ton of noise and not really moving. So that's no fun. So a lot of CVTs have been like that for a while. They're just sort of like, you know, the same vehicle with a transmission with a manual is going to be, you know, dramatically faster than anything with the CVT in the past. Little traction control intervention there. So that was really good. So it revved all the way to its red line, and then that was like 65 miles an hour, and then had a real upshift. It was real. Wow. So that's really, really good. That's the first. So the first like major irritant is sort of like, you know, resolved. So the second thing about like spinning away the power and not really applying it, sort of like when an automatic transmission with a torque converter is shifting gears, you know, it's just sort of absorbing that extra power, and then it to make the shift really smooth, and then is able to, when it engages the next gear, it's like a direct drive to that gear, so you're not losing that power. So CVTs never really have had like that. They just don't feel like they're using all the power. So Murano CVT, Xtronic, downshift, and that's like, that feels really pure and pretty good. I mean, it's really, it doesn't feel as though it has that sense of loss that you get from a CVT, or like it's not applying all of its power. So upshift there. Really impressed, guys. Really impressed. They've worked hard on this CVT, and this is just in standard drive mode. I haven't found any kind of sport mode on the car. Just sat down in it. But really, really impressive levels of power and passing power on the go. It's not like it's not definitely no muscle car around town where it starts off like fairly sedately. But the fact that Nissan has been able to eliminate those two big pet peeves of CVTs in sort of like having odd upshift characteristics and then sort of the spinning away or wind up power situation, That's really, really impressive. So you can't hate on CVT anymore, because this one is really good. And the flip side of having the CVT is it has really, really good efficiency, incredible around town smoothness. It just sort of like never shifts, you know, obviously. So it's incredibly relaxed and luxurious feeling. And the other thing is it's really light. It weighs like a quarter of what one of those DSG gearboxes would typically weigh, and about half of what a traditional automatic weighs in terms of, in terms of overall the weight of that component. You know, automatic transmissions can weigh like 600 to 700 pounds. So that's nothing to sneeze at. Where, you know, so if you have a CVT that's like 150 pounds, you know, that's just benefits all day long. So pretty impressed with the car. This thing is front wheel drive too, and we haven't, there's been no, sometimes like these softly sprung crossovers, like the Hyundai Santa Fe Sport, which is like a prime competitor for this car. Sometimes those there's just not too much body lurching back. You know, it doesn't really like heave around. It feels, you know, just nice. The handling has a good feel. It's obviously comfort oriented, but it can be driven hard and not protest too much. So it's really impressive. I think the all-wheel drive would be even more impressive, but it can't deliver this efficiency. So the front drive Murano for 2015 scores a 21 miles per gallon in the city rating and a 28 miles per gallon in the highway rating, which is really, really good. That's the same score exactly as what the 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee Eco Diesel achieves, for example. And that thing sounds like a yellow school bus crossed with an old-timey tractor at idle. It's like unbelievably noisy. So for the Murano to just deliver like good V6 power, as well as the I would say near best-in-class efficiency, is really, really impressive. Big fan of the car's styling outside. I think you will be too. Hopefully it won't become as ubiquitous on the roads as the current Murano. But if it does, you know, it won't be too bad of a place to be, because this is a really swoopy and sexy shape. Cool. Well, this is Tom Burkhardt in the 2015 Nissan Murano SL front-wheel drive. This vehicle is available now and has a sticker price of $40,000 with as equipped. All right, see you later.